Hey YouTube, Turtleags here, bringing you another AFK journey video. We are 1 minute away from rewards being distributed for me in particular, for the Supreme Arena. As some of you guys may know, when you uh, when you go here, I'm sorry. Ooh, got my rewards. I managed to defend my 11th place in District 8. I'm on server 25. It's hyper competitive here. I get attacked at least 5 to 6 times a day. Some of you guys maybe even more, depending on where you're ranked and what district you're in. Basically, the purpose of today's video is to kind of go over an update as to the meta of Supreme Arena. It is evolving every single day, and with this week's new map formation, strategies have been quite different, particularly on map 2, where the rage meter criteria has changed, and map 2 is just an absolute chaotic mess because people are swapping out their tanks, heck, sometimes even their healers, for hyper offensive teams that are aimed at obliterating the enemy team as quickly as possible. And knowing what adjustments to make can be the difference between defending your number 6 spot or dropping all the way down to rank 24, which happened to me at one point. So without further ado, I think the way I'll break down this video is I'll kind of briefly speak on the meta right now, the teams I'm personally using, the adjustments I've had to make on my defense in order to maintain my position in top 20 for the juicy 8 Twilight rewards, as well as the other rewards here. Actually, to be honest, the main reason I want top 20 is for the Twilight Essence and the Hourglasses. I don't really even use the outfits anymore. I mean, the hair is terrible, and I'm not really a big fan of these two. And I'm the kind of person, I love the color red, but red outfits on my character don't really look that great. Plus, I did get the VIP 18 outfit, so I've been loving that and rocking that instead. Hey Linkaboo, good to see you. Right on time, right on time. You're on YouTube, by the way. You can say hi. So, as I was saying, we'll start off by I'll give you an update on the Supreme Arena meta on District 8, where server 25, 26, 27, and 28 are battling it out. Then I'll kind of go over the adjustments of my defenses, adjustments for my attacks, teams I've tried out, teams that have worked out, not worked out for me. And then finally, we will actually do a kind of, I had a viewer DM me privately asking for advice as to how to improve his Supreme Arena team. So we'll do that for him. Yeah, that'll be the video. So let's go ahead and first talk about the meta in general. So the meta in general is, as I've mentioned, really hyper offensive, just kind of giving you a glimpse as to the top champions here in Supreme Arena and what they're rocking. As you can see here, the number 1 player is not even the number 1 ranked player is not even a P3 player. He actually rocks P2s, and he does have a P4, but in any case, so for the second team, he's running a hyper offensive just consecutive attack team, because for map 2 now, if I was to kind of go in, basically it's a map where when you sorry, I'm kind of all over the place. So the Raging Duel criteria now is when you are running units that deal multiple consecutive damage, then the rage meter increases, which has created a shift in the meta team on this particular map, where you're still doing the Aaron team, but now you're adding more just faster attackers and also crowd control characters still, such as Alsa, you got Carolina, you got Arden. I feel like these three, along with Parisa, have seen a lot of play lately. Love the hair on the females. Yeah, the female characters, oh my god, they're so beautiful in this game. And you know, so Aaron, Alsa, Arden are definitely the core. I've seen a huge spike in usability with Carolina. For me personally, I still like to have a healer, although some people literally don't have a tank or a healer. Their main goal is really just to obliterate the opponent with 5 attacking units. That seems to be the shift right now. Just kind of going over MGlad's. Oh yeah, so meta defining teams. You got the hyper offensive, just crowd control team, Aaron team for map 2. So you got Alsa, Aaron, Arden. These 3 are quite common. Rainier has been used a lot lately for different teams. A lot of people have been using Rainier teams on Aaron, which for me is kind of unnecessary given that there are other consecutive damage units like Carolina that are putting in work, and you can use Rainier for someone else, like some other team. And then interestingly, for the third team here, as you can see, they're running basically the Hypogene Celestial team, where you have Damien, Scarlita, and Burial. What makes this team so powerful is that Scarlita at Supreme Plus does grant a temporary physical and magic defense buff, which can help activate Dionnel's EX ability, along with Damien, with his chariot, kind of inspiring the allies as well. Pretty standard to run the awakening spell with Dionnel. And because Dionnel teams, the artifact kind of gives it away. So I think it's very smart for this rank 1 player to have the Dionnel team on map 3 and then kind of have a hidden team on map 1. So I'm not going to attack him because I'm trying to save my attacks to defend my position. I have been attacked a lot more lately, but I presume that team 1 will be a Vala team. Typically they go like Vala, Temesia, Lucius, Rowan, and one other unit, and then running the Quick Blade spell to really help Vala teams out. Personally, I like the Star Shard spell more with Vala teams because, with Vala teams you want to soften up the enemies, and dealing a wave of true damage every couple ultimates allows me to soften up the enemies enough for Vala to pick up the KO. Yeah, so that's what number 1's rocking. Zero, his teams are very solid. I've attacked him and failed a couple times. And once again P2s. So the last team, I really like his Vala team. It's actually a lot better than I thought. He's running a really cool tech, which is the Light Heal spell. I thought that Team 3 would be like his weakest link, but that ended up being the team that slaughtered my team. It wasn't even close. And the reason for that is just I couldn't defeat his Vala, and as you can see, his Vala is very well invested. EX20, P3. And basically the idea behind this team is Temesia, softens up the back row, also applying crowd control and physical defense shred to everyone, including the back row, which allows Vala to snipe the back row better. The Light Heal spell in combination with Scarlita allows Vala to just basically do what she needs to do, which is pick up KOs. Carolina is a very cool tech. I thought that this was a little weird in the beginning, but it actually works out perfectly because I do have a replay where Carolina does like a perfect freeze, which just like I think locked down my main DPS or my main healer or something, and then Vala just like cleaned house. So very solid team. And then The second team, I'm really curious. Like, people are either going hyper offensive or hyper defensive. I actually think that Team 2 might be his weakest link based on the Rage Duel criteria. I don't think Aaron and Arden alone. Well, his Arden is very highly invested, so maybe this is a good team. I haven't attacked him this week. Well, actually, I think I did and I lost. And then Team 1 is likely a Mauler team that is anti. Oh, no, no, no. This is a. Okay, so this is interesting. So, if memory serves me right, this is a Diurnal team that does not run Awakening. If memory serves me right, okay, let me check if I have attacked him before, and then I can kind of show you guys what he was running. Oh, I guess I didn't attack him. Okay. Anyways, and then there's other teams that actually what I could do is just attack him, and then oh, and this is my guildmate, by the way. So his team, yeah, so this is interesting. It seems like a lot of the top players are running Arden, Damien, and another defensive unit, Granny and Aaron. This is very different from my style of team building for map 2. As you can see, you know, Supreme Arena, the meta is so fresh and constantly shifting. I think a lot of people are modifying their teams based on who is attacking them in particular. So for me, the people attacking me from below rank 20 are very different from the ones attacking from within rank 20 up to like the top 5 or top 10 even. So yeah. Yo, Turtle, how's S plus Cassidy performing for you? Oh, she is amazing, Jacob. Amazing. You had one in the list? Yes, I did. Divine Art, good day, good day. Yeah, you're all on YouTube, by the way. I'm just speaking on the meta right now. Okay, so now that I've spoken on the meta, oh, and let me just show you the defensive formation, the adjustments I've had to make. So I'm still running my Floorbelt team. I'm constantly swapping my Rainier position just to keep my enemies guessing. And then the adjustment I made here was that I took out my Granny and I kept Rowan, and I took out my Parisa and added in Carolina and Ulsa, and it's been working really well. The adjustment I made has allowed me to actually win more battles on map 2. Excuse me. And for map 3, I actually for a time swapped my Haywin out for Rowan in order to take advantage of Rowan's faction bonus as well as more energy for Vala and Lucius. But I found that I've actually been winning more with Haywin. And I think the reason for that is because that Vala, she really wants to be protected. And because she's your hyper carry, so by having this many defensive units, it's very hard for an opposing Vala and Sylvina to take her out. So that's kind of the adjustment I've made here, and it's been working out pretty well. This team 3 has been performing better than like at one point I tried running my Diurnal team now that I have a Supreme plus Diurnal, but I think until I get him EX20 and get my other units like Leica to at least EX10, I think it's going to be a while before I run him. But there is a Shakir Diurnal variant that I need to playtest before I run him Diurnal in Supreme Arena. I haven't invested in Shakir yet. Since you need 2 OP teams in Supreme Arena, would you still invest in Shakir or rather in a Vala team? Because I think it's risky to invest in 3 teams. I think it's safer to go full investment in 2 teams. Tyron, I think if you're trying to secure a top 50, then I think hyper investing in 2 teams makes a lot of sense. But once you're once you are defending your top 20 position, I think it's very important to invest in all 3 teams. Now, the third team is going to be the most scuffed team, but as you can see with my Vala team, technically this is my most scuffed team, and sometimes my team 3 team, this team, gets more wins than the second team, because the problem is Iran is almost always going to be one of the two hyper invested teams, and oftentimes you're going to be in a situation where you are going to have a mirror match Iran versus Iran, and sometimes RNG just kicks you in the ass and your Iran team gets served against the other Iran team. So it's one of those situations where sometimes putting all your eggs in two baskets might not be the play. You might need to spread it out across three. So that's just my take on it, Tyron. I think you do have a very good point, and some people will inevitably have to create two OP teams, not because it's the better strategy, but because they don't have any other choice. Yeah, but I do think that if you are serious about being in top 20, you really need to invest in three solid teams, which can take a lot of time and play testing really to make happen. And a lot of my viewers, they ask for three solid teams, not two, because they're defending like a top 5 or a top 20 position. So now that we've talked about that, let's go ahead and do kind of like a viewer request. He DM'd me personally, so and I think he said it was okay to reveal him, but just because he's defending really hard, so I'm actually going to keep him a secret. Let me see here. So let me find him real quick. Ooh, why can't I find him? Let's see. Oh yeah, okay, found it. Okay, so I'm not going to reveal the person, but we'll go ahead and create 3 teams for him. Oh, and actually my Discord hides the name, so I think well, actually it shows the first letter. Okay, I'll just save this image and then one moment here. I'm sorry, I don't know where my image saved to. One moment. Save. Desktop. Review. Okay. Oh, here we go. All right, so let's go ahead and show this to you guys. Hello Turtle, how's it going? Here, I'm doing great. Yeah, you're actually in a video right now. We're doing a review for a viewer who needs a Supreme Supreme Arena team to defend his position. Yeah, and I'm hiding his name because some of his competitors are in chat too. So, okay. Yeah, thank you so much, Hero. Appreciate you. Okay, so this is the lineup we're working with. We're going to create 3 teams out of this. So first, I'll kind of do a brainstorm right now of the 3 teams I think could work very well with his crew, and then we'll actually kind of flesh out formation so I can send it to him. All right, so right off the bat, I'm really liking this roster here. I think even with a Mythic Plus Rainier, there is a possibility we could utilize him offensively. But at a glance, definitely the Aaron team on map 2 is going to be huge. I'm thinking you could either go hyper offensive or hyper defensive. As you saw earlier, there's some hyper defensive Aaron teams on map 2, but personally, I've had more success with hyper offensive teams on both defense and offense. So the offensive variant is what I'm going to recommend to this viewer. So, no tanks, one healer. We're going to actually have Rowan as a healer. I do like Rowan as a healer on a hyper offensive map 2 team because he gives energy, and that's going to be very helpful. So I'm thinking Aaron, Rowan, Arden, of course. If you have Alsa, we're going to have Alsa. If not, that's okay. We're going to have Carolina, and that'll basically be the team. So, looking at your lineup here, do you have an Alsa? You do not have an Alsa, which is okay. Alsa has insane synergy with Arden, but Carolina is quite good as well. So I would recommend for map 2, Aaron, Arden, Carolina. Carolina. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Aaron, Arden, Carolina, Rowan, and you can either go, if you don't have Alsa, actually a person who beat me on map 2 was running an Aaron, Arden, Alsa, Carolina, and Sylvina comp. So that could be a consideration. Hey Rasta, good to see you, good to see you. Yeah, EX20, Scarlita, and Odie. Yeah, his team is cracked. As a matter of fact, you could probably go Aaron, Carolina, Arden, Rowan, Odie, and then rock the some people are running cascade spells. I personally, I tried the cascade spell, lost, and then on defense on map 2, and then the adjustment I made was I swapped to basically swapped out my tank and then swapped out my cascade to evocation, and I got the clean 3-0 defense to secure my settlement position at rank 11 2 minutes before settlement was complete. It was crazy. Yeah, so that's one team. And then for another team, I would go, I mean, definitely we got to utilize Scarlita. I'm seeing the potential for a really nice Mauler team. So we could go, Brutus. Oh, actually, we probably need Odie in the Mauler team. So for the Aaron team, I'd probably use. Actually, let me just double check something here. So rank 1 and rank... Okay, so rank 1 used Alsa, and then rank 9 used... okay. So one consideration you can make is this team right here. This is actually my guildmate. He's rank 9. Actually, I probably would recommend this instead. Yeah, if we don't have Alsa, this might be the better play. So you basically go Granny, Aaron, Scarlita, Damien, Arden. I think what this achieves is you go hyper defensive, and you do have a full 5 faction bonus. Hyper defensive with Damien, Granny, and Scarlita, and then you have the continuous damage from Arden. So I think this could be quite powerful running the cascade spell. So we could try this. And then also, what is the max resonance this season? It's going to be, someone posted, I think Mr. City posted that it's going to be at least 700 or 680. Yeah, the season resonance level is going to be really high. Okay, so kind of going back here. So for the full Mauler team, I'm thinking Brutus, Odie, Shakir, Coco, and Smokey. I think that could be a very solid Mauler team. Now the Mauler teams, they tend to be the weakest link in a 3 3-team Supreme Arena formation. However, I know that there's some anti-Aaron teams out there that are Mauler, but unfortunately, I'm not sure how. I don't think anyone has really had success with this time, using a Mauler team against an Aaron team on the Raging Duel stage. But anyways, the full Mauler team, you could consider it on map 3. For map 1, I think we should really utilize the invisibility tiles for a light bear Vala team. So I'm thinking we could go like let me see. Do we have a Lucius? I think the Lucius is almost built. If we can get Lucius to EX5, I think that would be good. So you would basically go Lucius as the main tank. It's essentially my defensive team here, where you have, Lucius in the front. You have Haywin, and then you've got Vala. You've got Tamisi in the back to counter opposing Valas. And then for me personally, I went with Scarlita. So actually, lately I've been having a lot of success with this light bear team. I've tested it and it's been working, so I would probably recommend it for you too. So if that's the case, I would probably have Scarlita be the 5th person in the light bear team. I would actually move the Vala team to number 3 because the number 3 map, because even though there's no invisibility tiles there, what I absolutely love about map 3 is that it's very difficult to dynamic balance, and Sylvina and Vala tech. I love this map. So as you can see here, there's no tiles to really dynamic balance, and as you can see, I kept my backmost tile open, that way he couldn't even dynamic balance this position. The only unit he can dynamic balance out of my party formation is Lucius, and I don't really care about that. He's just there for defense. And then additionally, I have the Tamisia right here in order to block opposing Valas. No matter where you put your Vala, you're going to retarget onto Tamisia. And then Haywin, and then I have the Star Shard spell to soften up the enemy. So this I would recommend for Team 3. Now, in terms of formation for Team 2, I'm actually still thinking we go with the hyper offensive route for you. That's just what I'm familiar with, and I think it'll work well for you, and it'll be different too, for enemies attacking you. They'll probably lose at least their first match or two, just being really surprised. So you don't have an Ulsa, so instead we're going to go with someone who attacks really fast. You could. I don't feel comfortable bringing Marilee in here though. You could probably go. Actually, you know what? Marilee could be an interesting play. Well, no, we need the faction bonus, though. You know what? You could use Rainier, actually. That could be an interesting tech. Yeah, just like have, have Rainier. I think the only issue is if you dynamic balance Rowan, that could be a problem. Okay, maybe not Rainier. Oh, Leica? Actually, you could run Leica. And the reason I recommend this is because of the multiple consecutive damage. If your Leica at the start of battle is increasing the attack speed of all your units, that could actually be really good. I know your Leica is not super invested, but the good news is you don't need a hyper invested Leica in order to bring value for your team. So this is probably the second team I would recommend. You could go evocation. You could go either evocation spell or cascade spell. Personally, I like evocation more, but most people run cascade, which is understandable because Cascade gets your ultimate meter up higher, but really I think with how hyper offensive this map is, the last thing you want is for your opponent to surprise KO your key damage dealers. So this is just kind of the artifact that I personally use to break serve and secure the defense. So that's my tech that I would recommend for you. And then for map 1 with the hidden tiles, I think that'll actually help the Mauler team a lot, simply because the Mauler team is probably the weakest of your 3 teams. Yeah, and so I think for your Mauler team, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's still going to be very powerful. What we might need to do though is, because Smokey doesn't have the best healing range, so we probably will need... I think we still need to hide Smokey though, because if they dynamic balance Smokey, then it's GG. So I think what we'll do, we'll have Smokey here, and we'll have Brutus, and then Brutus, got Odie, you got let's see, Brutus, Odie, Coco, I'm gonna have Odie over here actually. Just and then you can probably do Entendre. Okay. So the reason I'm doing it this way is because Brutus is to counter an opposing Vala, and also Entendre will be the one most exposed. But the thing about Entendre is that as part of her kit, when an ally selects the frontmost ally as the guarded ally when the battle starts. So that'll be Odie. And then when another ally becomes in trouble, I think she jumps over to defend them, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, rushes next to the guarded ally when their HP ratio drops below 50% for the first time. Yeah, so Entendre does have a little bit of mobility in that regard. Oh, we can't see the formation. Oh, sorry about that. Yeah. So this is the formation I have in mind. Brutus over here to counter, opposing Valas. You have Entendre here. Well, actually, technically, I do think Shakir might be the better play now that I think about it. What I'm most worried about with the Mauler team is just units being outside the healing range. But I think with the Shakir, it should be okay. Actually, what we should probably do is like that. I think Shakir, he's fairly tanky. So, I think he can survive against an opposing Vala quite well. And even though Brutus is kind of exposed in the beginning, even if he goes outside Smokey's healing range, that's why we do have Coco. Because usually, even around the time if, Brutus was to proc his, blocking Fatal Blow ability, by that time Coco will get her ult online, and then you're in a good spot. And then I would probably run the Confining spell. The more disruption we have against the opposing team, the more we can improve our survivability. And Odie can just get to work yeeting, basically annihilating enemies. So this would be the third team I would recommend. So I think that pretty much wraps it up. Let me just confirm that I have taken snapshots of these 3 teams. Yeah, I did. Okay, good. All right, so that wraps it up for this video. Didn't want it to be, it got kind of rambly towards the end as I was cooking, but if you guys need Supreme Arena assistance, you can hop on to my live stream on twitch.tv/turtlelags, because I'm in top 20 of Supreme Arena, so I see a lot of meta shifts every day. And so hopefully I'll try to make this a regular series if you guys are interested, because I know I get at least 4 or 5 requests every day for Supreme Arena formation. So I know a lot of you guys care about this mode. So anyways, I will catch you in the next video.